Welcome to the third edition of the Connected Shopfloor Summit, where we gather people to discuss the future of manufacturing.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. My name is Ricardo. I work at proGrow now going 8 years, and I have here a great panel to introduce you. But before I introduce you to our panel, just let me thank Ignacio for this presentation, great presentation. We clearly know his opinion about AI, right? A revolution is coming from his opinion. But as you may have noticed, the question that we are asking in this event is this for real? Is this artificial, or is this real intelligence that we are about to witness? And for this, we want to discuss it here in this panel. It's actually our third edition. This panel last year, I was welcomed to moderate it. I think last year we got to very good conclusions. This year, I think it will be even better. And let me just introduce you to our panel. So Filipe Silva, he has a career in the automotive industry. He has worked in different multinationals in this area here in Portugal. At the moment, he is head of operations at Coloplast, which focuses on healthcare, intimate healthcare needs. So a big round of applause to Filipe, if you...
Thank you.
Next to Filipe, we have Gonçalo Barata da Rocha. Gonçalo started his career in continuous improvement. He worked as a consultant at Kaizen Institute, and now he helps private equities grow their portfolio. He's COO of Manuel Castro Silva and Palsystems, which is in the wood industry, so a big round of applause to Gonçalo. Pedro Maia, also our guest, he has made a career at Ferral, which is focused on the metal industry, so letters and, I don't know, I tried to memorize the name in English, enzymes, which is scaffold. Thank you, Pedro. And he has a career in production management, and he's at the moment head of planning at Ferral. So a big round of applause to Pedro as well. So coming back here to the debate that we're going to do, it's not only artificial intelligence, but you will see that it is a recurrent theme. We want to understand on these different topics what is the opinion of our panel. And how we will do this is we will start off for each of these three topics, so AI and digitalization, human resources, and innovation and competitiveness. We will see their perspectives on these three topics. We will also ask the audience to join on a poll, which you will be able to vote on through a QR code. And from there, we will see your responses, and we will also comment on your responses and the results that we'll get for each of these topics. From there, we can draw some good conclusions and help us on our daily work. I hope so. So, starting with artificial intelligence and digitalization. We did have, I don't know if you noticed, we did have a ChatGPT moment like 3 years ago. It wasn't something that we actually used, and I don't think anybody here hasn't used an LLM tool at the days that we're living. So it's in our lives in a major way, so we recognize that. Not only personally, but also at work. But actually, Deloitte says through different reports that only, not even half of the companies worldwide in manufacturing industry have actually a strategy for these types of technologies, so LLMs and Gen AI. So that's not having a strategy for AI. We're not talking about implementing it. So although companies may be eager to invest, it's still not reflected on the day-to-day job at a factory. On the other hand, Gartner tells us that for the manufacturing industry, 2027 will be the turning point. 2028 and 29, it will be mainstream for everyone, in terms of manufacturing industry. It will be normal to have it and use it on our daily lives, daily work. So here is the big question is this for real? What can we expect from this new industrial revolution, or is it just hype? And I will start off with Filipe. What is your opinion on this?
Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. Just a small disclaimer, I'm not an AI expert. I'm not from the technological area. I'm just curious about it. I think we all are. So I'm going to share my opinion based on what I read, what I hear, and my experience in my pharma companies. And going to your question, yes, I think we are in an industrial revolution. Yes, I think at some point this is, this was some kind of hype that every company wants to use AI and every company wants to have some kind of AI tool. But we are in the middle of a revolution. If we look back to the first revolutions that we had, they were more focused on power and speed. To replace operators in the machines, to be more efficient, cost efficient. Here, I think it's a little bit different. So we are talking about, if you want to say so, human augmentation. So it's to give the persons or the human more capabilities. And it's a little bit different scope from the former revolutions that we had. And this has three aspects that I think that are important to discuss. That is, first of all, the data. It's really important, and Ignacio was talking about it. And the data will be a very big. It is at the moment a very big asset for the companies, and the data that we have and the quality of data that we have. Also, that we will change from operations or reacting to what is happening on the operations on the industrial floor to predicting what will happen on the industrial floor. And by the last one is we will not have an operator operating a machine, but we'll have like an orchestrant managing a system and not really a machine. So this is an industrial change, an industrial revolution. I think so, but it's not. When we look back, it's not like the other ones, but it's more cultural change, and it will change our behaviors. It will change our way of working, because the scope of this it will be more on, as I said, human augmentation and the capabilities of the humans.
So you're on Ignacio's team?
Yeah, I am. I am.
Okay. Gonçalo, go ahead.
Firstly, thank you for the opportunity. And also a disclaimer, I'm not a big expert, but I do have industry experience, and so I'll share what my thoughts are on this. And also, I think it's important to explain that I think that it's easier to first give this information. I'm talking for the growth of what is industry, which means that most of the companies don't have huge scale. And most of the companies that I know, whether they're in Portugal, Australia, or in the States, the kind of maturity is not that high as it is a technology nowadays. And so I think that's important to say this, because my personal view will be on what's the growth of the industry. And so basically, I'm not as excited as everyone is on the short run, and I'm very much excited on the long run, to be honest. Don't get me wrong, I use AI on a single daily basis, and I push my teams to use them, but I'm not seeing, whether it's in my company or competitors or other industries that I've passed through, I'm not seeing a big, P&L impacts. So I'm also being kind of provocative here, but that's my personal experience. But on the other hand, so there's a sentence that says we tend to overestimate the power of a technology on the short run and underestimate on the long run. And having that said, I think that the disruption in the future will be huge. The big question that I do have is whether we're talking about 5, 10, or 15 years, to be honest. Because I think that once we get manufacturing industry with maturity enough, also technology industry with enough maturity developed, and of course the whole supply chain. And this is where my big thoughts are. When we are able to merge this into robotics and have the help of robotics, I think that's where we're going to see the big change, to be honest. And I think it's even hard to foresee what's going to happen. But my personal view is that we're going to see companies that nowadays are considered big companies with 500 people or 1,000 people or 2,000 people having that headcount reduced dramatically, firstly. I think that we will have never seen quality levels. And guessing that most of the people here are industry or manufacturing related will have like a big impact on the operational burden, because I think we'll have a lot less mistakes and a lot less kind of operational burden. And I'm very positive about that. And I think that on the other side, I'm also very positive on the human side of it. Because I think, and my professional experience has been kind of changing companies and moving stuff around. And I think that we are 99% of us are kind of operational agents, regardless if we are on top level or in the low level of a company. And I think that and I think that humans tend to kind of ossify their own knowledge and build their own paradigms and get stuck with their own ideas. And I think that will shift us from being operational agents to being change agents, and being more on the vision and strategy and change part of it. And I think that's exciting, to be honest. I think that the operational part is not that sexy. I think it's much sexier than to be part of changing things and moving things forward.
So strategy is important, even if it's not something that we'll see in a short-term strategy for this.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's something that I think that we miss. We will get there maybe, but we miss. I think most of leaderships are missing a lot of that kind of short-term, long-term perspective. We tend to value more the short-term and less the long-term.
Yeah.
Pedro, go ahead.
Thank you to invite me. And I have this disclaimer as Filipe and Gonçalo. I'm not a tech guy. So, but I came from the shop floor, and the folks at the shop floor, they are afraid of the AI. They are afraid of another screen near the machines. They don't know what to do with that screen. Is going to these guys are going to finger point the mistakes I made, and this screen is for what? To see Netflix or to see the Champions League? That's always the same answer. I think that we have really huge opportunities with AI in this industrial revolution, but only for the companies that move fast, fail fast, and learn with the errors, learn with their own errors, and learn with the other one errors. I think that is that is important to some companies that start to deploying some journey in this field. So I think at the I don't know, the administration level and the leadership level, I think that's fine. We are playing with AI, with LLMs, and that's okay. That's great. And
when we go to the shop floor, the things don't go like this. We don't know for sure what we have to give them. It's really hard. I think we need to get some team that are motivated to start deploying, start this playing with the AI, and then making these guys being like a lighthouse in the factory, and then we can make a good contamination with other guys. And at Ferral we are trying to do so. So my opinion is this: we have huge opportunities, but not for so fast as Gonçalo said. That's it.
Okay. So let's agree that strategy for AI is important, but let's not get too hyped.
Exactly. And let's not use AI or AI tool and then, okay, I have an AI tool. Now, what problem can I solve with this AI tool? I think this is not the right
mentioned
approach.
that, and I think that's spot on. I
Yeah.
think that a lot of people with the hype are just chasing after AI tools. And I think we should go the other way around. I have a problem. Is AI here to help me out or not?
Why are we using it?
Yeah. And be part of the strategy. And I'm jumping already to the second question, but AI can help us or can help the companies to add more value to the end customer. And this should be part of the strategy and not just a tool that I grab and I say, okay, I have this great AI tool. Now what can I do with this in my company? That will not work.
Yeah. True. So let's bring in the audience, and we have here a question. It will be a multiple choice question. You can actually join through the QR code, and when you join, you will be able to vote on an answer here. We will be looking at the poll during our conversation here, and the big question is, what is missing for industrial companies to have a solid AI strategy? And here the options are there solutions actually there adapted to my industry? Because if there's not even solutions there, that's a problem, right? Is there data available? Is there a data foundation available for these types of technologies to use it? Is that the main key to our strategy? Is training and knowledge what's missing? Funding and tax incentives, is that key to this technology? And cultural and willingness to change. Maybe it's just a cultural thing. I don't want an AI in my factory. Filipe, if you had to choose, what would you choose and why?
Cultural and willingness to change, I agree with majority. I'm very democratic. No, I think solutions, there are many solutions. There are customized solutions, not so customized solutions. Data, we can say that we need perfect data to start. That's not true. It's proven that we can have data and improve along the way and start an AI process. So data, it's not really a point. Training and knowledge, exactly. It's an excuse. Training and knowledge. Okay, I think we should have all an upskilling in what we know and in our workers in the plant and should work on that. Of course, that this is important, but I don't think this is the point that is preventing us to advance to a new level of AI implementation in companies. And here I think it's related with what we already discussed or touched, that is the strategy that we want to implement, the vision, and the willing to take risks, to fail. It's important that we have an open industry or an open company that is willing to accept failures as part of the learning process And this vision to medium term, long term, to reach a certain level of AI implementation, of a certain level of value added with AI, that I don't think that, at least in Portugal, we are willing to take that risk. We are very conservative. We are not. We don't have risk profiles. So I truly believe that it's a culture and the willingness to not change.
Are you just saying that because the audience is agreeing with that?
Of course, of course. No, it's honestly my view, and according to my experience, to change it's always difficult. I mean, it's not only in AI; it's in every change you want to do in a company, yeah, that's my experience.
Okay, Gonçalo.
Firstly, this is where I get embarrassed because we don't have a solid AI strategy. But I think that maybe the root cause for that, it kind of explains what the issue is for most of companies. So this recent company that we picked on, it's like so two companies, both of them are kind of leaders in Portugal. So they already have kind of a scale, not huge, but they do have some scale. And yet, and they are the leaders on the industry, and yet there was no data foundation whatsoever. Like everything was made out of paper. So that's the first problem. But I think that problem even has a further root cause, which is the mindset. You know, like working on data and having your company sustained on top of data. I think that it requires a lot of work. And it's not short-term work. It's like you need to be focused on a daily basis, but you need to also keep an eye on the future to implement these kind of things. So I think most leadership is missing that, to be honest. And to justify myself, we don't have it because we're still working on getting data, to be honest. And I think, and we know because especially this sector itself, it's quite family-based, and most of our competitors are very far away from it. So we still have a long way to do until we get to the AI part, to be honest. But I think that the root cause is, so to summarize, it's data foundation and also cultural mindset of leadership, especially.
Okay. Pedro.
I follow the Filipe opinion. Cultural is, I think this is a cultural problem. And I know that the data foundation is important. Yes, it's really important. But if we don't have that cultural willingness, that will not happen. And I go with cultural problem.
I'm looking at the results. So funding and tax incentives is clearly not the problem. Although here in Portugal there is kind of that mindset sometimes.
Tax incentives is a problem, not only for this, for everything.
But it's not an excuse, of course. So here. Most of the public agrees, cultural is, but none of you touched on the point of solutions that are adapted to their industry. This came in second. What do you think about this?
I think, from my perspective, I think it's we're addressing the first things first, and I think until we have, regardless of if we have any tools or not, if we don't have the data foundation, and especially, and I agree with both of them, if we don't have the leadership skills or intention to make this happen, I don't think anything ahead of that will make a difference. So that's why my standpoint of view is like the root cause is kind of leadership mindset, to be honest.
Okay. Anything else? You guys?
Sorry, maybe I stole your words.
Yeah. Gonçalo just said what I was going to say. It's okay. Maybe we don't have all the solutions for all the industries we have, but I don't think this is the major cause for not implementing, because there are a lot of customized solutions that we can implement in industries. And again, okay, we can have the solution already developed, but if we don't have the data, if we don't have the willingness to, go forward, nothing will happen.
It's true. And actually, coming back to the question, if cultural is the thing that's holding back having an AI strategy, maybe some motivation would be good to help us change our culture. In this sense, I would like to quote here a famous guy, Jensen Huang. He's CEO of NVIDIA. He probably knows a thing or two about what's coming. Exactly. And he has a quote that clearly, if this doesn't give you motivation, I don't know what will. Companies that successfully leverage AI will not only outperform their peers, they'll redefine their industries. So maybe it's a thing of having some motivation also to change our culture and have an AI strategy in order to be first, second, or third in this revolution. I think this is a good way also of thinking about it.
Just a small correction to my point, which I don't think I was clear enough. I think that the scope of what we're talking is mostly manufacturing, but I think, and Ignacio mentioned that if we're talking about services companies, I think it's a total different conversation, right? And I think that those already have the motivation because it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. So it's fully different. No, and everything from medical doctors to everything that's service related. I think that the impact is already happening. I think that in the manufacturing will take a lot. Small amount of extra time than the service companies, and I think that's important to highlight. Yeah.
Sure. Okay, let's move on to the next topic, human resources. Here we do know that there's a growing pressure. There's always pressure to reduce costs. I think that never changed. Thing is, human resources are getting more expensive, so the cost of labor is getting more expensive here, especially here in Europe. While competing with Asia, while competing with China. And this is clearly a balanced thing that's very difficult to do. In that sense, how are you guys managing having this balance? If skilled labor and labor is getting more expensive, how can I compete with competition, especially coming in from Asia? If you're okay with it, I'll change the order right now. I'll start with Gonçalo and then.
Sure. So firstly, this is for me a hot topic. Well, I guess it is for everyone in the industry, to be honest. But yeah. So firstly, from the private equity perspective, of course, we're constantly looking out to create value, and so we're investing in productivity. Making productivity investments, but we're not only making them on the perspective of collecting the financials, but also to simplify all the very skilled and hard kind of workstations, to simplify the level of or the pressure that we have on some sort of tasks. So we are kind of working on that front, and then we have three more things. Firstly, we tend not to we tend to pay slightly more than our competitors do. I think that most companies are kind of saving pennies and then losing thousands of euros. So that's one policy that every single company that I pass through, I try to implement as much as possible. Secondly, I think that culture, and I think this is a hot word. I'm not talking about ping pong tables and big wallpapers. I'm talking about. I think that I've never seen a company with workers that, if leadership is really in depth with them and working alongside with them proactively and even in high pressure, if the leadership is close to everyone, I feel that everyone gets much more engaged. So I think that one of the major parts of a leader is to be on top of everything and very close to everyone. And I think that deploys throughout the company, regardless if the company has 20 employees, 100 or 1,000. I think that deploys, and I think that from the retention side and motivation side, I think that's quite important. Then we work very strongly on the recruitment process. So basically, I'd split this into two. If we're talking about shop floor, we think of it as a statistics game, to be honest. So we're very aggressive on that. We don't make too much filters, but if we need headcount, we accept, but then we filter out very much after we get the people on the shop floor. So we're kind of aggressive on that because we believe that it's better for the whole if we have the right people on the right spot. And if we're supervisors upwards, up until the top management, no one gets in the company if they don't spend at least one full day with us before being hired. And I think that this helps us out, hitting the jackpot much more often. And I think this helps a lot. And the fourth one, sorry, I need to take a look at my notes because I'm forgetting. Oh, sorry, I mentioned them all. Yeah. So HR-wise, these are the four things that we do, and we're very strong on that because the pressure is huge.
Makes sense, Pedro.
Nice strategy. At Ferral, we are investing in productivity, so we can balance the cost, the labor cost, and the value added for each product. So I think if we look for the value added in each task, we can forget a little bit more the cost of that person, and bring value to the market. So that's our focus in this moment is in OEE and the quality of the task they are doing at the shop floor. When I see when I think about the AI at the shop floor, I think about what that people that we have at Ferral, for instance, will do with the AI tool, and I think that we need to upskill the guys, but not with some technical tools. I think we need them to think critically about what the AI tools will show them. So if we are for maybe 10, 12 years, we are talking about edge computing to reduce the latency of the fact and the decision. And I think that we need to start thinking about edge decision. We need to bring the decision to the shop floor and empower the folks at the shop floor to see what the AI tool is telling them, and empowering them to take the decision. And to take the decision, they need to have this critical thinking process. And when you say the labor costs, the competitiveness from Europe to against Asia, for instance, in Europe we are not so fast as in Asia, not so fast. We are regulating, we are betting on the afraid of the tools, and but we have this educational, the average educational of an European is higher than the Asian. So I think in the long term, we will have disadvantage over Asia and over US, for instance. Maybe we need to have this long journey to be in front of them.
Okay, so it's a matter of time, maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Filipe?
I will challenge that.
Okay.
I agree with you because in Europe, if we are talking about Europe versus Asia, I agree with you. When we have more knowledge, we are considered to have more quality and more innovation, let's call it like that. But that will not last forever if we don't do anything, and we need to do something. And answering this question, we can have several approaches, and I think one of them is, okay, all the companies want more productivity. If you are more productive, our costs will be lower, so we can compete better with countries in Asia. But I think that the approach should be in a different way, and not looking at the cost, but looking at the value, and not looking and thinking at the cost per employee, but looking at the value per employee. And it's a totally different approach, because what can differentiate us from a market like Asia, or for a company in Asia, is the value that we can have in the market. Of course, that we have AI tools that can enhance our productivity and help us in productivity and all, and maybe can do some tasks that don't have a lot of value added. And this can free us, for example, for innovation, to think about new solutions, for creativity, that I really think that this is what can differentiate us from Asia. If we compete with cost, we will die. This is for sure. So we need to bring value to the table, we need to bring value to the customers, and we need to think in a different way, not in cost per employee, in value, and what value can I bring to the table, what value can I bring to the market, and what can I give my customers. So I think this is the best way of competing, and not by cost or by price.
Yeah, true.
Sorry, just to add what you're saying, I fully agree. And I think that my answers, like, because I've mentioned, like, we're doing productivity improvements, and that obviously reduces the costs. But all the three other things that I've mentioned are exactly on that approach. I think that we need to look at the value of people on the company, and I think that's crucial. If we're trying just to squeeze prices, we will not get there. So yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah, and maybe not playing in a plain level field with Asia makes us kind of pushes us to think outside of the box, and maybe good ideas come from there. Okay, so let's bring in the audience again. How can we actually maximize the productivity of our workforce? What are the tools that maybe would give us most bang for our buck? And here you can go into the same link. The options are merit recognition, giving people more recognition for their hard work, training and development, so upskilling, we talked about that, salaries and bonuses. It's a double-edged sword, because you kind of increase costs, but does that bring you productivity? Digital tools, AI tools, other tools. Is it just a thing of bringing in more tools, or control and pressure our workforce to give us more productivity? So Gonçalo, let's start off with you. If you had to choose, which one would you choose and why?
Yeah, so obviously they all have their role, but if I have to choose. So basically, as I mentioned, this is a hot topic for me. It's like, I know something around like 20% of the books I read are around these kind of topics. So I'm very much interested in it. And merging all the knowledge that I get from those books and my practical knowledge out of it, also from, firstly from implementing it, but also from what happened to me professionally. And maybe it's easier to explain from that perspective to what happened to me. I've found 2 or 3 people in my professional career that fully changed me. Fully changed the way I see problems, the way I see a company, how I manage people, and so forth. And so I think that, like kind of mentoring, it's also a hype word, but I fully go on with it. I didn't mention beforehand because we haven't been able to implement it in this company yet. This company is quite small, 100 employees, but the previous one we had 500. And even with 500, which is a big burden to implement, we were able to implement. It's not perfect, and especially because it's a sector that has high rotation of people. But we did have processes for it, and we did see a difference once we started implementing them. because the bigger the scale of a company, the higher the challenge, of course, to implement this. But I would mention that one. I mean, if you get into a company, regardless of the level, and if you have someone that's looking out for you and helping you out, and making a difference on the way you look at things, I think that makes a huge difference. So I'd highlight that one as a main one.
Would that
so be training and development? Yeah.
Training and development. Okay, Pedro.
I'll bet in training and development too. I think you don't have success if you don't use digital and AI tools to leverage the productivity. But without training and development, you can get it. You need to have the two together.
Yeah.
Just because they chose that, I will choose that one again. No, I'm joking. It's training and development, and we talk a lot about AI, technology, and so on, but we must not forget that in the base of everything are the people and the workers that we have in the plant. And we can have a very good strategy, a very good AI implementation, but then if you don't have the people that have the skills and the knowledge and that trained to use it and to help our business grow, I mean, it will not be worth it. So I go with training and development as well.
Okay, so you all three agree on that one,
yeah.
But you don't agree with the audience, right? So why not merit and recognition? Of course, we can agree that it's also important, but why not? Why isn't that the best bang for your buck? Just recognizing people.
You cannot have merit and recognition if the person doesn't have the training and it's not developed to achieve a certain level of output or productivity. So it's okay. It's a plus. It's something you can add on top of the cake, but it's not the base of the cake. At least that's my view.
Okay. And also, merit recognition comes and goes, but training stays.
Yeah.
Yes.
Correct.
And I think people will recognize that if they are truly trained and if they can see that whoever is teaching them makes a difference in their career.
Yes.
But people also come and go.
Of course, that's why we work on the retention side.
And what about digital and AI tools? Can that be a good bang for your buck in terms of increasing productivity for your workforce?
Sure.
I can sell you. I can make some sales for you now. Once we implemented proGrow, we increased productivity by 8% just by doing so. And to be honest, our starting platform was quite high because the original owners from the company, they were very operational driven. So I'm fully sure about that. I'm just saying that we're talking about HR workforce issue, and it's a big issue. And given that, that's why I highlighted mentoring.
Yeah, of course. It's
But I
not
fully agree. Actually, I agree with all of them.
Yeah.
Even control and pressure. I think that at a certain level, I think it's needed.
Yeah, you cannot just use one to improve your productivity. You need to have a set of things that you are implementing, not just one.
Yeah, that's why I like this percentages, because it kind of gives you, you know where you have to bet, but also if from that bet where you can allocate more balancedly. So not everything has to be control and pressure, but there's always that 5% in this case that it would make sense to do.
Absolutely.
Okay, but because this is an AI event, I have an AI quote to help us motivate a bit more on these tools. And this comes from the CTO of Accenture, however, is very worried about AI replacing us. What he says is AI won't replace people, but people who use AI will replace those who don't. So that's just because the productivity of that person will increase, and therefore it will make more sense to bet on that person instead of the other. And this, I think, this applies also to companies. So companies that are more productive because of AI will replace others. Anything you guys will still want to add on this topic, or do we move on?
From my side, we can move on, if no one has any questions.
Great. So, third and last topic is innovation and competitiveness. Kind of ties into the last two topics, especially the competitiveness part. What are you guys doing to compete, to stay ahead of your competition? So if you had kind of to give a summary of, it's not just human resources, it's not just tools, what is your kind of your philosophy to stay ahead of your competition? Sorry, Pedro, go ahead. Yeah, we're
now
changing order.
Silent.
Yeah, sorry.
I came from a small company, Ferral. We have a little bit more than 100 people. By 2020, do you remember COVID? Our local mayor declares a total lockdown, sanitary cordon at Ovar, and no one's in, no one's out, and for 4 weeks. And that 4 weeks, we were forced to stop producing. Sure, but we were not forced to stop thinking, and that's the 4 weeks that made a huge transformation in the company, because we are based on costs. We are selling low cost, low added value products. And we need to change this. And after that, we go. I talked about this at lunch. We went to talk with Inegi at Filipe, and that meeting was transformative, because we start then in that moment we start changing our products, betting on more value added at each product, and and now we are selling in more major markets that are really close to us 4 or 5 years ago. And we do so. We talk to Inegi because we don't have the money to have R&D department.
It doesn't make sense for you.
No. It will be a huge cost at a small company like us, and we need to come together with the mechanical knowledge that they bring and the market knowledge that we already have. It's been a success, this partnership. That's the way we are doing things in innovation and competitiveness.
So partnerships is a good way to go about it.
Yes.
Yeah. Filipe?
Maybe I'm going to repeat myself, but I give 2 words here, that is value added and continuous improvement. Value added, not only the value added that we are, the internal value added, but what we can give to the customer itself. And the idea is not that we compare with others, but that we try to differentiate from others and think outside of the box, like you said before, so that we have new solutions, new way of approaching things. We are innovative, and of course AI can help us on that, because it can free the resources so that they have the time to be to think and to be critical and to have new ideas. And continuous improvement, because, okay, we can have a very good idea, we can implement it, we can sell the product, but if we stay there, nothing will happen, or at least in a few years, we will die. So I think that to be competitive, as we said before, it's looking at ourselves and the value added that we can bring to the market and try to find new ways and new market approaches, new value that we can bring to the user experience, for example, when we sell a product. And yeah, for me and in the companies that I've worked, at least the strategy was more or less like that. Sometimes we can do it pretty easy, sometimes it's not so easy. But that's why the management is paid to go along and try to define new routes. But I see it this way.
Gonçalo?
Yeah. So firstly, of course, the investment in terms of productivity, I think it's a basic one. But we're doing a lot of competitors are not doing it, so we're looking at that. But I think that I might have the worst business to talk about this, because it's kind of hard. Like, a pallet is a pallet. So we're one of the biggest sawmills in Portugal and one of the biggest pallet manufacturers. And so when I picked up the company, I was just looking at, like, how can I differentiate the pallet, right? No one cares about the pallet. So, and I cannot make a higher value added pallet. Pallet travels very badly, so you cannot export to other countries. So it's very hard. So thinking outside of the box, what we've been doing is we realized that it's much more about the service level, which is very hard to sell at the moment of selling. So it's price. But then we're adding. So firstly, we were recognized from the business that we are quite reliable in terms of service level. But we're developing small things that I think that make a difference. Kind of like we're building on. Product engineering department. We're working also with the Polytechnic Viseu, so that we can develop with more structured ways pallets that are like kind of developed for that customer, for that kind of product that it takes. And I think that kind of gives us credibility and also helps out customers. I mean, a pallet is worth the wood. So if you kind of like you shrink your kind of pallet, you pay a smaller amount. So we're working on that. Also, like another problem for industrial companies is like the stocking of pallets. So we've invested total 3 million euros this year, and a big part of it was to have a lot more warehouses where we can stock our customers' pallets, and then we're building a platform where they can actually have access to their own stocks in there. So that they, instead of buying ahead of time, they know they have their pallets there, and they just need to. So that's kind of very hard, very tricky to make, but we're trying to differentiate ourselves on that sense. And then lastly, it is more market specific, but we're feeling that everyone's going after standardized pallets, and we're kind of not afraid of operational complexity. We think that that's a strength that we have. So we're developing and making some investments, of course, but to be able to maintain productivity levels but increase flexibility, and that's where no one's playing. So we're moving towards that. Of course, we're a scale manufacturing facility, so we need scale, but we're working on our flexibility. That's how we're trying to differentiate ourselves.
Okay, great. Bringing in the poll for the audience here, the question is, what's contributing most to our loss of competitiveness compared to Asia? Here, the options are energy costs. Is that the big issue? A cost of shortage of human resources. We talked about that. Lack of scale. Lack of support and incentives, and lack, of course, of digital and AI tools. Let's start with Pedro. Which one would you choose and why?
Lack of strategy in the long term.
Yeah. I think we could actually bring in that option as well.
Yes, I think as I said before, in Europe we are afraid of digital transformation with AI tools, and we are regulating them. But I don't know if the regulators are thinking in 20 or 30 years. Like China. China is thinking in 100 years, not in 10 or 20.
I think they're thinking about problems that don't even exist.
Yes,
in some cases.
yes. They have I had, and everyone followed the ad. It's like that dragon dances there, you know. I think maybe some leadership in Europe to think strategically about productivity and competitiveness, and I think that what we need.
And that strategy would then evolve into which area here, do you think? So do you think it's human resources, energy? Of course, I don't think your factory has a energy-intensive production, but it does have energy-intensive human resources, right?
I don't know, shortage of human resources, maybe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Filipe, go ahead.
Can I add more there? No, all of them are of course, that the cost or the shortage of human resources is one aspect, the lack of scale, of course, the lack of support and incentives, yes. But I think that the biggest issue when we compare Europe to Asia, it's the speed of which we make things. So if we look at China, they implement things and they do things really fast. Here we don't do it, and I think we have two reasons for that. One is that we have a risk, we have a aversity to risk, so we are not, we don't have this mindset of taking risks to do things. And another one is the regulatory affairs that Europe has. While in China they are already using AI for a long time and putting that in practice and building things around that. Here we are still discussing, okay, but this is data protection, this is not data protection, and this goes again that, so we need to regulate that. And this creates a machine that is too bureaucratic, and it's not incentivizing the companies to go faster, implementing things and gaining competitiveness and gaining productivity and all of this. So this is my view.
Yeah, I have a very strong opinion on this one. Maybe it's easier if I give you an example. So I was working at old Asilva Match, which is an aeolic steel manufacturer, and we did the exit to a Korean company. And you know, they like to work very fast. So we used to discuss a lot of this. I used to travel with the management team and a lot of times with the chairman, so the founder of the company. They are the biggest company in the world in manufacturing this. And a lot of times the ex-prime minister of South Korea used to come along with us, traveling around the world. And they would tell me, like, because we had a huge amount of burdens related to our own government, and they used to tell me they cannot understand how this is happening, because in their own country, they would tell me, if we have a project and we need the support from government, they will come to our office. And so I think the bottom line is that they are hungry and we are not, to be honest. I think they are very, very much hungry, and things happen when that. And it kind of pushes me to make the comparison when you have a management team that's sitting on the office and making orders, and not going to the shop floor, and that's where we're sitting, when compared to Asian countries, companies where they're full on the shop floor and everywhere else. So I think it's a kind of a, to be honest, mindset, and if we're not hungry, we'll not get there. We'll just make problems out of every single stone that shows up in the way.
But isn't it? If you're hungry and there's food, right, you want to eat it, don't you think there's a lack of the carrot here? So you don't actually see a carrot, even if you have the most hungry.
Okay, as we are nowadays. I think that we will not be in maybe a few decades, but I think we're okay right now, and that's why we're not that hungry, and we're not seeing the carrot. But that's my perspective. It's kind of a strong opinion, but I might be wrong. I think that when you're hungry and if everyone's kind of aligned on that, I think that things happen much faster, regardless of regulation. Of course, you need to reduce regulation, but you can make it happen if you want to. But I don't think we're hungry, to be honest.
Okay. So here, of course, we could add those options. Unfortunately, the audience couldn't. From the 5 options, we do have the main one is clearly human resources. It's a recurring theme. Then lack of scale in second place, support and incentives, and energy is not a problem, and digital tools are not a problem. They're available. Coming to a close on this topic and focusing more a bit on innovation, I'd like to leave one last quote. If things are not failing, that means you're not innovating enough. And I actually would propose that as a KPI for a company to measure how many times a company is failing. And it could be a good KPI for knowing if the company is actually innovating or not.
You need to be careful, or else the company will be working for failure, not for achieving all the targets.
That's why you need more than one KPI in a company.
But I do agree. I think that failures should be celebrated, to be honest.
Yeah.
If you have the right culture, failure can be something celebrated.
Yeah. I don't know if you'd like to add anything more to this topic.
I would just like to add that I agree with the audience as well. Like, I think that human resources is a huge issue. That's why I've mentioned many times that I focus too much on that. But yeah, I wanted to be kind of provocative as well.
Yeah.
That like we're not hungry.
Sure. So to end our session, we still have the possibility of asking some questions. If you want to join through the QR code, you can actually ask questions. You can ask it in Portuguese or English or Spanish, whatever your option is. And we can actually select a few of them, answer them, and let me... Wait. Yeah.
That's for you.
Yeah. I speak very openly on this one. I think that I usually say that the worst kind of companies that, at least from my perspective, that we can work on is either a company is very kind of loose, so there's no issues, like issues sum up over time, and I think that's very bad. And companies where the pressure is too high and the mood is too low. But I think that you can have a company where, if the company is growing and the mindset is of growth, it's good to have some kind of control and pressure. I'm not saying that, it was 4% and it looks kind of balanced out the result from the audience. But I do think that controlling stuff and having some kind of pressure, not pressure with a quick chicote,
whip, yeah.
With a whip, but it's kind of like working in a high pressure environment can be awesome. I've worked in many, to be honest, can be, and actually on the opposite side, working on a low pressure environment can be terrifying, to be honest. So my perspective is that, it's about balancing out things. Actually, a good case is this company that we picked up, like the pressure on the sawmill side, because it was ran by the previous management. It was really old school management, and the pressure was really high and the mood was really low. So I'm not also a fan of that. But I think that currently we are moving towards, in this company specific, and the companies that I've passed through, that we can work on with, good targets where if the company grows, everyone grows and everyone's motivated to move towards those targets. And I think that's a good thing, to be honest. I know that it's the kind of disruptive and not comfortable for everyone, but that's my personal view. And I think that balancing out that it's very hard, and sometimes you can put too much and mistakes may be done, but let's celebrate them and fix that. But some kind of controlling pressure, I think it's part of the game, to be honest.
You have to change pressure and control to management attention. It's more...
Yeah, exactly. But sexy, but
it's more sexy, exactly.
It is. And of course, because there's a bad connotation on pressure and control, right? Because it seems that you're with the whip and... Yes. It's not what I mentioned, what I mean, sorry. But, yeah.
Okay. Here also a question regarding digitalization tools. Are they actually including the workers, the people that use them on the daily basis, or are they actually excluding them from?
I can answer that.
Yeah.
I believe they are not including and they are excluding. But this is the case every time we have a disruption, or every time we have a new tool, or every time we have a revolution or industrial revolution. So the ones that are here and that are dealing with that are going to suffer. This is clear. And the ones that are not prepared to use AI, that are not trained to use AI, they will suffer, of course. But I think in medium, long term, there will be an adaptation on the trainings we will have, on the peoples and the skills that we will need in corporations. And at the end, I'm not afraid that AI will bring more unemployment, because I think that's not true. What I think it will happen, it will change employment itself and the positions we need now. Maybe not the positions we will need in the future, but that's not necessarily a bigger unemployment.
Yeah, and coming into what we said, that culture and willingness is not just for management team,
exactly,
it's also for the worker.
Exactly.
If there's no willingness to use the tools, it's more difficult to include them. Yeah. Would you like to add anything on this, Pedro? No?
No, I think that on that, this is moving. So, but on top of this question, I was saying, especially to people that lack information.
No,
training.
Not training. No, formação académica. Não, acho que era isso que queria dizer. Academic training.
Yeah. Academic training or academic degree.
Yeah, academic. Yeah. To be honest, from my perspective, most of our best workers usually don't have it. It's a matter of attitude, to be honest, and I think everything can be learned. So I don't see any split between that on the shop floor, to be honest. It's just much more about attitude and willingness to...
You can't buy attitude.
Yeah, exactly.
So here, are there any practical success cases you guys have seen in terms of AI or tools or strategy, or still none?
I can talk not in my company, but a case that I saw. It was a company that was launching a new product. It was in the United States. They were launching a new product. They had the warehouse and they had the production. It was retail. And through digital twin, so the idea was, okay, I'm going to launch a new product. How can I optimize my warehouse management and my production shop floor so that they are more flexible as possible? And they had a digital twin, and just inputting so the digital twin had historical data of everything that was happening in the company and the sales and all that. And with that digital twin, they were able to, okay, this configuration is better, maybe we should launch this way and launch that way. We configured the warehouse management in a specific way. And they could predict how the market, how the environment was going to be when they were launching a product. I found that really interesting. Again, it was not my case, but I read about it. But it was quite interesting approach and successful implementation of a tool.
Okay.
On the Eolic side, when I left, we were testing out tools so it's a very specific welding technique, which is submerged arc. Thank you. Submerged arc submerged. And so we're testing out robots welding because it's a very specific one. There's a lot of components, and so you need to pay very much attention, and you cannot robotize it very simply. But again, it was not fully reliable. So and you know, welders are a big bottleneck on these kind of companies. So it's not a best practical success because it was not yet a success, and that's why I was saying also in the beginning that, you know, I'm seeing, and it's a big company, of course. Seswin is quite a big company, a worldwide company, but still, you know, you only at that scale you can spend money, capex money, trying out and still failing, and trying out and still failing at this kind of capex investment. So, not that it was a best practice in terms of success, but I think that it'll eventually come up. So I think it's a good scenario, a good business case.
At Ferral, we are doing some things in the supportive processes with Zapier and doing some kind of agentic AI to do some small processes to write an email to a customer or to a supplier. That's the thing that we are doing. In small steps, we are integrating the LLM in Zapier to deploy these processes. Okay. So to save a line in an Excel file and to send an email, but an agentic AI to each step, a different one to each step.
Okay.
And it's going fine.
Okay. And here, what about the IT world and the OT world? So the internet world and the automation world, they lived in two different worlds for a long time, and now they're merging. What do you think was the progress done in the last 2 years? Are they still too separated, or can we say that both have successfully merged?
I'm not an expert, a technology expert, especially in IT and OT and all of that. But what I think is that in the last couple of years, with the industry that we talked a lot about it, Industry 4.0 and the Internet of Things, these things somehow came closer. I don't know if they are already fully integrated, or if what we need to do to integrate them more. But I feel, and again, this is a feeling, this is not really an opinion with a big foundation, but I feel that somehow that barrier is not so big, and they are closer now. But again, this is a feeling.
Yeah.
Not that I have too much to add on this one, and that I don't have too much experience on it, but from my perspective, let's say we've just invested in a technology that's what I was saying beforehand, to add our flexibility. We invested in a robot that nails pallets, so it's an impressive thing to see, and actually the first one to be implemented in Portugal. And like technology-wise, I didn't see any barrier whatsoever. I see like fully developed. So in terms of maturity, very high in that sense. So yeah, I think that we've most likely made a lot of progress, because I have not been seeing a lot of issues in that relationship.
Okay.
We are making some progress in that area, but as I said, the folks at the shop floor don't like screens. It's not easy.
Okay, so I think we are running out of time. We actually are a few minutes after our time. I think we had a great panel here. I would like to thank our guests for the opportunity to talk here. I would like also to thank the audience for participating in the voting and in the questions. I hope this panel brought you something new and some learnings. And I would like to ask you just for a big round of applause here for our guests. And I hope
Thank you.
Join our Connected Shopfloor communities on LinkedIn and Reddit. And subscribe our channels.